I've calculated a league table to figure out the most improved teams in the Premier League this season. As well as the most improved teams, we've also got the teams that have dropped points. So let's take a look at the numbers. So the numbers in this league table are correct as of the 2nd of April. We've got the amount of points that the team is currently on, the amount of points that they had last season after the same amount of games played, as well as the difference in points between each season, and that is how the league table is sorted. So let's start off with the bottom half of the table. From 10th downwards, we've got 17 teams because I'm not including the newly promoted teams. And let's briefly cover these until we get to the most improved teams. Right at the bottom, we can see Liverpool have been worse than Sheffield United. Well, not literally worse performances, but in terms of numbers and the points difference, they've got a minus 36 and Sheffield United on minus 30. After 29 games, they currently sit on 46 points, where previously they were on 81. That was with 1 draw and 1 loss. Sitting 7th in the Premier League right now, it's hard to say if they will even get Champions League football. They're currently 5 points off Chelsea, who sit in 4th place, and there's many factors as to why they've had this amount of points dropped. After 29 matches last season, like I say, 1 draw and 1 loss is incredible. So their performances last season were very consistent, but then combine that with the lack of performances this season, and that can be down to the centre-back injuries they've had with Van Dijk. If they had him in the team, I think they perform very different, but take that really good season and this poor season together, that is how they now have a minus 36 difference. Sheffield United with that minus 30 comes down to many factors once again. Last season they had that momentum coming up from the Championship, and it's not really that this season they've lost it. They were losing it towards the end of last season after they returned from lockdown, but then that lack of form has continued into this season where they've just not been able to get anything going at all. One thing that has been highlighted throughout this season is how close Sheffield United have always been to getting a draw or a win. It's always been by 1 goal, so they've always been quite close to getting points, but they've missed some really easy chances in matches. We see Wolves are on a minus 8, they're currently on 35 where they had 43 last season. One of the obvious factors to this is Raul Jimenez. They've missed that reliable focal point at the top of the pitch. They brought in Willian Jose, but he hasn't really had the impact that Raul Jimenez would have on their performances. Newcastle United on a minus 7, currently on 28 points. They've not even got to 30. They were on 35 last season. It's really poor. We know where they sit in the league table right now, 17th, just above Fulham, but maybe come the end of the season, Newcastle's point difference will be on double digits. When the season has finished, I might do this video again so we can review each team's season, and I'll do it in the same concept where we look at the points from the end of last season and the points at the end of this season. If you do want to see that, let me know in the comments and like the video to let me know that you're enjoying this one. Above Newcastle, I think we can talk about Crystal Palace and Burnley together, two teams that just always seem to do enough to stay in the Premier League. They are both on minuses, with Burnley on a minus 6. They had a really poor start to the season, and Crystal Palace, well, not too much difference, only on a minus 2, 37 now and 39 last season. On a minus 1 is Southampton, who I thought were going to have a really better season than they're having right now. They started off brilliantly and at one point were top of the league. They came into the season as one of the most informed teams in the Premier League, and like I say, that started for the first half of this season, but then they've just dropped off. Currently on a minus 1, they could finish the season on a positive points difference. Let's see how their form is from now until the end of the season. And then in 10th place we've got Arsenal, who are the first team on a positive points difference with 2, which you could maybe say is quite disappointing for Arsenal. They probably wanted a few more points than the 42 that they're currently on, but where you see a lot of teams are in a rebuild phase, I think Arsenal are near the start of that. There's still a lot of changes to be made to their team, transfers in the summer transfer window. Maybe this season the players have understood Arteta's system a little bit more, and with new players coming in next season they can look on to push from there. But ultimately I think they would want to be on a few more points than the 42 they're currently on. So then now let's get into the top half, the teams that have improved quite a bit. We've got 3 teams here on 3 points more than they were last season. We've got Brighton in 9th, currently on 32 points. 8th we've got Chelsea, who are on 51, and then 7th, the team with the most points out of these 3, is Leicester with 56. Maybe the surprising one here is Brighton. We're talking about this current season, how they're underachieving and should be doing a lot better, which is definitely true. I think they can be in a position higher than they are right now. However, they have had an improvement in points, even if it's only 3. Come the end of the season, this points difference could be a lot larger. When I was making my predictions at the very start of the season, that is what I predicted, Brighton to be a lot higher than they are in the league right now, and probably with a lot more points. This season hasn't exactly been the one where they've been able to really outperform what they did last season. They haven't improved massively in terms of their points and league table position. The performances are still there though, and there is great potential with Brighton. With Chelsea, they are also 3 points better than last season, and a big factor to that is Lampard leaving the club and Thomas Tuchel coming in. Chelsea wouldn't be 3 points better if Lampard was still in charge. I don't think so anyway. At the start of this season, with the transfers that Chelsea made, you definitely saw them as a team that were getting in the top 4. They weren't doing that under Lampard, but since Tuchel has come in, he's got them into 4th place now on 51 points. A big reason as to why they've had this incredible form is the clean sheets they've been keeping. Still only 2 goals conceded in 14 matches under Thomas Tuchel. That really is quite a ridiculous record, and when we start fresh next season, if they're keeping this defensive record up, Chelsea are going to be right up there near the top. So currently 3 points better, but if we're doing this video in a year's time, I think they can be on so many more points than 51. And then above them is Leicester on 56 points. They're on 53 last season, and it was around now that Leicester had that really poor run of form towards the end of the season, and they just completely collapsed out of the top 4. Right now they have quite a lot of injuries, and it looked like that was going to affect their results. However, even with those injuries, they have been able to get back-to-back wins. Zahi and Anacho, he's been able to hit form at the right time when Brendan Rodgers has wanted him to step up and score some goals. He's done exactly that. So they're 3 points better than this time last season, but when the season is over, I think that points difference is a lot higher. They finished last season on 62 points. They're on 56 right now with a lot of games still to play. I think Leicester are in a good position right now to make that improvement. At Tottenham with Jose Mourinho, they're on 41 points last season. However, now they're on 48, so a positive points difference of 7. There has been criticism of Tottenham as of late, but their form at the start of the season has got them quite a lot of points, and that is really where the improvement of points has come from, that 7. Their form at the start of the season was really good. The impact of Harry Kane and the impact of Heung-min Son. Their partnership at the start of the season was getting people talking about them as title contenders. That form has since dropped, and the 48 points currently has them in 6th place. They finished last season with 59 points. They're on 48 at the moment, so they've still got some work to do if they want to make improvement from last season. Looking at their fixtures, they've got Manchester United coming up in April. They've got the EFL Cup final in between all of this. They've also got to play Everton, Aston Villa and Leicester, who are all in that top half of the league table. They're still looking to qualify for a European competition next season, so they've got important fixtures to be able to do that, and also to make improvement from the 59 points. In 5th place above Tottenham is Manchester City, an 8-point difference. 63 last season, they're on 71 right now. They seem well on their way to making that points difference a lot larger than the 8 that it currently is. They finished last season with 81 points in 2nd place behind Liverpool. They had the one slip up recently to Manchester United, the 2-0 loss, but apart from that, their form has been quite incredible. So right now that point difference of 8 isn't too amazing. However, come the end of the season, I think that could be quite different. Now we get into the top 4. I'd imagine these teams would be wishing this was qualification for the Champions League, but it's not. In 4th place is Everton with a 9 points difference than last season. 46 points right now and 37 they had last season. They're doing exactly what they would have hoped to do, and Everton are one of the teams who have only played 28 games at the moment. They've got a game in hand against other teams, so right now they're on good track to make improvement from last season. From the squad of players they had last season to the squad of players they have now, it is a lot different. However, the players that they signed like James Rodriguez and Allen have sort of been in and out of the team. James Rodriguez has played 18 where Allen has played 16. With these players in the side, they make a big difference to the performances and the results. James Rodriguez especially in that attack, it makes it so much easier for Calvert-Lewin to score goals. Calvert-Lewin was in ridiculous form at the start of the season, and a big factor to that was James Rodriguez. A player in this side that I do really like is Richarlison, and before February he wasn't in great form at all. He'd scored 2 goals and got 3 assists. However, from February into March he scored 4 games in a row, which bumped this season up to 6 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League, but I still think he can do a lot better. If they can continue to make quality transfers like they did in the last summer transfer window, then I think Everton are looking really good. Their points total last season was 49 and they're on 46 already, so they're in good shape to keep that positive points difference up, but let's see how much they can take it to. In 3rd place then is Manchester United with a 12 points difference. They're on 57 right now, where last season they were on 45. Progression is being made at Manchester United. The transfers are having an impact on their performances. Last season they were scraping to get into the top 4, however now they sit in 2nd and look fairly comfortable. They still need to be careful and get those points to get over the line and definitely qualify. The crazy thing with Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 1 loss and all the criticism comes flooding in. They haven't lost in the league since the 27th of January, that 2-1 defeat to Sheffield United. Since that result though, in the Premier League they've won 9-0 against Southampton, 2-0 away at Manchester City, and then their most recent win was a 1-0 win against West Ham. 4 clean sheets in a row for Manchester United in the Premier League. They also then won 1-0 away at AC Milan. Then they lose 3-1 to Leicester and they get a load of criticism. There is improvement and progression being made. He still needs to be backed in the summer transfer window. Man United last season finished on 66 points. They're on 57 right now. I think United, to make good progression from last season, want to get to the high 70s. That will once again take a good run of form, but they've been doing it. They've kept 4 clean sheets in a row, as we said. If they can keep that up, then I think they'll be on their way to a good end in the Premier League. Into the top 2 now. Who's second and who's first? Well, I can reveal in 2nd place is Aston Villa. They're on 41 points right now. They're on 25 before. That is a points difference of 16. Their improvement has been sublime. I made that video at the very start of the season why Aston Villa could have a better season. They've done exactly that. They have have been better, transfers have impacted the team. Martinez in goal, Watkins up front, Matty Cash at right back, they've all been really good this season. Quality recruitment for Aston Villa has led to a quality season in the Premier League. Their goals scored and goals conceded, currently at the moment it stands at 39 scored and 30 conceded. Last season in the completed season was 41 goals scored but 67 conceded. That's the difference, the defence, and also having a goalkeeper which is in there for every Premier League match. The consistency in that backline, Ezri Konsa becoming a starter in the Premier League, and also just off the back of a previous season in the Premier League, players like Douglas Luiz at defensive midfield who hadn't played at this level before. It just shows that they learned from their experiences in that previous season and made that improvement now to be on 16 points more. I'm sure now they're here on 41 points, also another team Aston Villa are with 28 games played. They'll want to try and push into that 50-point goal and get somewhere in the mid-50s. Either way, whatever they do from now until the end of the season, there has been considerable improvement. But a team which tops their improvement is West Ham with 22 points more. They're currently on 49 where they're on 27 last season. That's quite an incredible leap, isn't it? David Moyes has done fantastic. On 49 points, puts them 5th in the Premier League at the minute, 2 points off the top 4. They're still in a serious conversation of getting Champions League football, never mind the Europa League. When you look back at the start of this season, and I remember what West Ham fans were thinking, they thought they were going to get relegated and they were definitely going down. One of the big controversies from last summer was the sale of Grady Diangana, and the transfers that they made, I don't think people thought it was enough. They brought in Ben Rama, Soucek and Sofal, as well as Craig Dawson from Watford, and then Jesse Lingard was a January transfer. But now, when you look back at those transfers and you look at that recruitment, they actually recruited really well. The two men coming from Slavia Prague, Soucek and Sofal, the influence they have on the team, no words need to be said really on how good Soucek has been for West Ham. With 9 goals in the Premier League this season, he's been brilliant in their midfield. Two players that really put everything into their performances. Sofal has been brilliant at right back defensively, and a player that I've loved for many years in the Premier League. I've always thought he's been underrated and he's starting to get more recognition. That is Mikel Antonio. He's really been able to find his place in the team at West Ham under David Moyes. With 7 goals and 5 assists in the Premier League this season, we know what he brings to the team as well, his hold-up play, bringing other players who are around him into the game, such as Jesse Lingard. How good has he been since he joined the club? 5 goals and 3 assists for him. Probably the biggest change that David Moyes has made to West Ham is getting the players on his side and getting that spirit up in the team. He's really been able to get the players enjoying their football, and it's shown in their results throughout the whole season. In a recent video where I analysed West Ham, there was one thing that I pointed out, and that was that their losses this season have only come against the so-called Big Six. Apart from the very first game week when they lost to Newcastle United, all their other losses have been to teams such as Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. You know the teams I'm talking about. Apart from that, they've been getting points against all the other teams in the Premier League, and that is what has seen them get into this position now where they can still get Champions League football. So if that theme continues, they've only got one Big Six side left to play in the Premier League, and that is Chelsea. A really positive sign for West Ham, and what a game that West Ham-Chelsea one is going to be, by the way. Very excited for how this season can finish. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below, tell me in the comments. I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.